Welcome to the Art of Marx Trains, part 56. Tonight we have a unboxing, and this is a Marx set, of course, an auction I didn't think that I would win. I didn't bid that high. Shipping was super fast. So let's see what we've got inside the box. Came all the way across the country. All right. So there is, looks like I'm going to need a pair of scissors. Marx, a red crane, missing the boom. Set that aside. There is the New York Central 3/16 scale caboose. It's well wrapped. Oh, there's the boom for the crane. That should glue on there nicely. The handle's not even broken. However, it does have some bead chain that will have to go away. I'll put the proper hook on there. Some pieces to a locomotive. Here is, looks like a flat car. Okay. Somebody has put round oak logs on here. That actually looks pretty good. Not the original load, but that's okay. Let's see what else we got. We've got a searchlight car, missing the cover and the lens, but it's fairly straight. Looks pretty good. More paper. There's a wedge tender. I'm sure you've seen these before. That packaging tape strapping tape is pretty strong. I don't really like bubble wrap. It's fairly clean. And one thing left. Got like a locomotive. It's really wrapped. There's some broken wheels coming out. So it's a $9.99. Got some issues with the pickup. It's a bar pilot. That's good. And I think that'll work nicely. We'll find a new wheel. We'll get the crane fixed. We'll get the searchlight car fixed. That's the set. Well, as you can see by now, we have a work train, and I'm going to start by fixing up this $9.99 die-cast 242 locomotive. I've got replacement wheels. I have no idea how somebody broke a brush plate in half. There's a screw that doesn't belong. There's a screw that would have held the motor into the steam chest. And I have no idea why you would pop rivet the motor into the frame. So I'm going to drill those out, put a new pickup. It's missing the spring and the post. Otherwise, just a little cleanup, and that should be fine. Tender just needs a little cleanup. Maybe straighten the grab irons on the back. Could put the original load back on this, or reproduction load, but I kind of like those stained logs. They look pretty good. The crane has nothing broken or cracked, so I'll just have to glue that back in place and put the proper hook in place of this bead chain. Somebody soldered the cup hook into the end of a light pole. I have no idea why. Frame's very straight. Searchlight car looks okay. Like I said, it's missing the lens. Happened to have just picked this up that has one lens and cover. I might borrow that off of there. And then last is the caboose. Just a little cleanup. So let's start with the locomotive. We'll start by drilling out the pop rivet. I had to switch to a number 36 drill bit because that's the drill bit size for a 632 tap. I'm gonna see if I can clean those threads up so that I can put an original screw back in the hole. Next, I'm going to take the motor out. The two tabs here in the front, I'm going to go ahead and straighten and pull this off so that I can spread the sides of the motor apart. Got the pilot truck off. You can see the two rectangular holes, slots, where these two tabs went. Now I'm going to pull this wheel so I can spread the two sides, motor sides, apart. There's this nut needs to come off, and the nut behind this wheel. Got a wheel puller, and I'll use that and be right back. The wheel came off easily, probably could have done it by hand. The next are these two nuts. I like to use a 1/4 inch nut driver to pull them off. That one is not even hand tight. I'm not sure how this motor actually held together. Oops, dropped one of the nuts down the hole where the armature goes. Armature comes out easily. It's indexed by this little notch. So let's spread this apart and find a new pickup. I was able to get the motor halves spread apart enough to get the motor plate out. We'll go find a new one. Also on the workbench happen to have another brush plate. We'll just make sure that the hole in the center is fairly tight around the armature. Oh yeah, there's no play in that, so we'll try that. Over in the second drawer down, got some new pickups. There's a reproduction plastic that would work fine, although I like to use original parts if I can. That one's kind of got a bow to it. That one's straight, but a tab's missing off the end. Well, let's see if I can straighten that bow out. Use that. Okay, might as well get a wheel while we're here. There's a Baldwin style wheel, and it's got a pretty good boss for the drive rod. That one could work. Gonna dig around here and see. None of them have the drive rod attached. And it's the side without the gear, so anything with the gear is not going to work. There's another one that might be okay. So I think we've got enough to choose from. Okay, I was able to put the brush plate on, and I found this screw in the parts bag that grounds this brush to the frame. That's a really important screw. It has to be on for the motor to run, and it needs to be snug. Found a couple of nuts on the workbench that hold the brush plate on. Now I'm going to go get some brushes so that the tension is held against the armature, so I don't lose the index on the pinion gear on the back side. I tested the armature, and I also put the drive rod on this wheel, pinned it over so it's ready to be placed on the axle. And then I've got the front wheel ready. I like to quarter the wheels so that the weights are facing the same direction and 90 degrees off of the opposite side. Not that that's super important. But let's put the wheels on and I'll show you a little trick. This is my little contraption to place your motor in. It's got a pocket for the wheels and a pocket for the drive rod to protect it. And that way when you're pushing this in or even working on it, you've got a little rest and you can't damage the other wheels and drive rods. So I've also got a new spring to put on for the pickup. Then we'll just use the old collector. Figure out the best way to put it on here. Probably have to get some pliers to allow it to snap on. So that feels pretty good. Probably needs a little cleanup. Wheels turn very freely. So I'll put that pilot on and we'll test the motor. The pilot's on, but I haven't bent the tabs yet because I don't know if it works. And I found a light bulb. Let's give it a test. Well, it's forward only. We're gonna have to look at the reverse unit now. Well, we've got the 999 looking pretty good. I've spent enough time on it. I'll go back to it and work on the reverse unit. Next, I want to go to the tender and notice that it's got a little bend here. I might have to take the frame off the top and use my pliers, so I'll work on that. And I think the flat car is just fine. It looks really good, actually. Looks like somebody tried to put the letter P, but it's not bad. Then I've started to mess around with the crane. I removed the bead chain that was on this original red string. Found a new hook that I'll tie on, and then the boom just snapped right into the 4 slots without even gluing, but I went ahead and put some liquid cement on the 4 tabs. So it looks like it's almost ready to go. Can't believe the handle's not broken. And I was missing the wire that goes from here to there. And I had one of those from a broken crane. So let me get to work on that, and then I'll get to this searchlight. It's got a bulb, but I noticed that there's no, well, there is a wire coming down to this box. So I assume that it's soldered to that rivet, and I'll just need to put a wire from here to this pickup, and we'll have it done. Also need a lens and a frame, and I'm going to take that from this for now. So that makes that complete. And then a little cleanup on the caboose, and we'll put it on the track. I did end up taking the body off of the tender frame, and you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tabs that hold it to the frame. The frame has a couple of weights, and they're held on with a couple of tabs. And there's the frame. I've been straightening it out. I've got a little more to go, but I thought I would show you on the back end. There are 2 extra slots that aren't used, right there and right there, and that was for a ladder that went up the back of the early wedge tenders. And I always like it when I find wedge tenders that still have the ladder. But this one was late enough that it never came with a ladder. I'll keep working at this, and we'll get to the rest of the train. I was pretty fortunate on the red crane. The handle is still intact, and all I had to do was snap the boom back on, put a little liquid cement under it, put a new hook and wire. And the really neat thing is I can actually run this on my layout. It just barely goes under the tunnel. And what happens with cranes with the high trucks, like the style G trucks, there's no way that would ever run. And it doesn't matter if it's a metal frame like this or a plastic frame like this, it just won't go through the tunnel. So the one on scale trucks will. And next, let's look at the searchlight. I was pretty fortunate on the searchlight as well. It lights up really well. All that it was missing was the wire that goes from the pickup to that insulated rivet. So I think we're ready to run the train. Well, the work train set turned out to be quite nice. Everything works, except for the reverse unit. Could use a little more cleaning up. Again, that's a non-original load. Crane works. Searchlight car works. What a great little set. Thanks for watching.